Wait. Hold on. Stop. Cam. There's hope. Yeah. You said you're starting off in Miami. What the hell you talk about hope?
I got you. Even in Miami, you could paint a picture of if this goes well, if this guy stays healthy, if this offensive line, then this can happen. Now, September 21st, all that hope starts to look different. The team's 0-2, and you're like, But right now in training camp, everybody from the Browns to the Panthers to the Titans to the Chiefs, the Ravens, all of them think that this is their year if everything goes right.
Can I start with the Dolphins, since that's where you'll be starting things off and that's close to home here? What would be the number one thing a Dolphins fan should have hope for? Because yesterday when I was at the North Palm Beach Country Club, ran into a couple of people at the Jack Nicklaus event. We were all there for the Golden Bear, but as I was speaking to a few people, one of the brothers there was like, dog, lifelong Dolphins fan. He was like, I'm an eternal optimist, though, man. I think if Tua's healthy for the full year, we're going to the Super Bowl. And then I asked him, I said, well, what's one reason why? And he was speechless. He had nothing. Not an off-season transaction, not a feeling that's coming out of the camp, from mini camp or whatnot. Like, what would be the one reason that you can give Dolphins fans to have some hope?
It's harder this year. I'm not going to lie to you. It is harder.
With more evidence, right?
Right. I think their big plan this year is a little bit of addition by subtraction. They really, if you look at their roster and their offseason, you're right in their money. You can't say with a straight face they got better talent-wise this offseason. You lose a Jalen Ramsey, you lose a Jonnu Smith, you lose a Javon Holland, you lose who else did they lose? Teron Armstead to free agency. These are ballers. These are Pro Bowlers, team captains. You lost Calais Campbell to Arizona. These are guys who are the faces of your team. And they bring in Minkah Fitzpatrick. They bring in a couple rookies, but they're not at the same level talent-wise. Their belief is we get rid of some people that were more difficult in our building, like Jalen Ramsey, like maybe Javon Holland, like maybe Jordan Poyer. And we bring in players who are a little bit more bought into the Mike McDaniel culture of what he's trying to build. And maybe it'll be a little bit more of an energy booster than a trainer. Now, do I believe that? I want to see it. But I'm telling you, that is the path of their hope and saying, hey, we're going to get younger. We're going to grow together. And maybe that'll make us tougher in those December and January months when we've been exposed.
That sounds more like the plan for contract extensions for Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer. That's what that sounds like. Hey, we trimmed the fat. We're younger. Give us some more time, and we're going to work this thing out in like 5 years. Give me a new deal.
Now you know the business of the NFL, right? but the reality is like, okay, if I was painting a picture, what's the best case scenario for the Dolphins? You think about when Mike McDaniel got there and what they did in year 2 with that offense. They were scoring an incredible amount of points. Tua looked like a top 8 quarterback in the league, made a Pro Bowl, stayed healthy. To me, that is what you get back to. That's probably the best case scenario, where your offense is leading your team and your quarterback, if he can stay healthy, which is always the big if, but in 23 he did. Can we replicate 23 where we're throwing it down the field? Tyreek and Waddle are healthy and thriving with Tua, and it opens up that run game with Devon Achane and Jalen Wright to where we can score 28, 30 points a game, and where our secondary, which is a big problem, may get some exposed. We may bingle a few wins where we'll just outscore a team and beat them 31-28. And maybe we're there 10-7, 11-6 at the end of the season, whether it's division or wild card, and maybe we find a way where the matchup works our way and we win a playoff game. To me, that's the best case scenario. Is that likely? Probably not. But based off of everything going right, you're saying, what's the path of hope for the Dolphins? That's what it looks like. And that 10-6, 11-7 with a playoff win would be enough to get those extensions that you were talking about.
We are howling with the Wolf. Fins fans rejoice nationwide because they just got their one. Like, just clip that. Go back to ESPN West Palm's YouTube page. Clip what Cam Wolfe just said. And next time somebody asks you, why do you think the Dolphins are going to be anything this year? That's the roadmap. That's it right there.
That's it.
Is there still any kind of roadmap for a Tyreek Hill trade, or is he just too expensive for other teams to want to give up any draft capital for at this point?
Anything involving Tyreek Hill, I will never say never to, because that guy finds his way to decrease the possibilities of set timelines. But I'll say this: they're not planning to trade him. Like, he's planning to be on the roster. They're planning to be on the roster. He's finally getting healthy enough that we're expecting to see him full go in camp. And their vision is, at least for this year, our best situation is with Tyreek. Now, is this his last year in Miami? Maybe. It certainly could be. I could see a situation in 2026 where maybe it finally becomes a way they got to part ways. But I think they really are betting on what they bet on when they traded him. The speed, the explosiveness will outweigh some of the headaches that we got late last year. And I think they really do believe that some of the stuff he was saying late in the year, that he's got to reprove his trust, that he's going to be buying into it. He is leaner. He did look good running around in camp. So we'll see. Just like the Dolphins, you got to prove it to me with Tyreek before I see it. But as far as the trade, I'm not anticipating anything on the Tyreek front.
I get you on that. We got Cameron Wolfe, NFL Network national reporter here on Theoretically Speaking. CCAT is intrigued, and it probably has less to do with the Dolphins because, I mean, I know people are probably starting to have a snooze fest thinking Dolphins.
No.
You're going back to them.
It's going back to the Dolphins, and it's staying within the division because we obviously know that the Buffalo Bills within the AFC East are best set up for the next 5 years. But after that, It feels a little bit murky on who's in a better spot when thinking forward between the Jets, between the Patriots, and between the Dolphins. How would you kind of rank, to not use that word, those three runners up in the AFC East in terms of who you would rather be right now in their current setup?
That's a great question. I think the answer is different if we're looking in 2025 versus a 3-year outlook. Because 3-year outlook, I would take the team with the best quarterback future of the group, which to me is Drake May in New England. I think that eventually Drake May, he's on a rookie contract. He's shown the potential. I think that that'll rise to the ceiling, and they'll have the best long-term chance to challenge Josh Allen. This year, I don't think they're there yet. I think they're still lacking a lot of talent on that roster. So to me, that's, hey, in 3 years, which team would I bet on being the Bills' biggest challenger? The Patriots. This year, I think it's still Miami.
Yeah.
I think it's still Miami this year because, one, they have been the biggest challenger for years to come, and they have the best overall talent in the conference other than Buffalo. The Jets are bringing in a new quarterback in Justin Fields who may or may not work out. Yeah, they're paying Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, but this is a team that's just coming off a couple of losing seasons. They really have issues in trying to figure out what they can do up front to protect, and they didn't run the ball very well. So although the Dolphins have holes in the secondary on the offensive line, I think they're going to be around that 500 mark and give at least a scare because of those weapons they got on the offensive side of the ball.
I usually don't do cross-sport comparisons like this, but in times like this, it's necessary, Cam.